Hi friends, welcome back to another episode of Generation Films. My name is Alan. Bruce Wayne is many things. A billionaire, playboy, vigilante, and some might even say a superhero. During the day, he lives an opulent life as Gotham City's most eligible bachelor and occasionally shows up at Wayne Enterprise to piss off the board. But at night, that's when all the fun starts. Bruce dons a cape and mask and becomes a shadow of justice, watching over Gotham and protects it from individuals he sees as criminal scum. Batman is judge, jury, and if necessary, executioner. Now, because he's operating completely outside the parameters of what is considered legal, he does draw some scorn from the local police department and even citizens for his actions. And since Wayne Enterprises likes to dabble in some light military industrial shenanigans, Batman has access to a wide range of very lethal and destructive tools, gadgets, weapons, and vehicles, and he loves using them in creative ways against the scum of Gotham, or as I like to call them, innocent until proven guilty citizens of Gotham. But we should give the masked vigilante some credit. He does have one golden rule, and that's he never uses firearms. Why does he do this? Well, some might say that the Bat enjoys being stealthy and quiet. Most firearms produce a flash and quite a loud noise even when suppressed. Batman feeds off the fear of his enemies in a very frightening and vampiric way, and while guns are scary, it's even scarier to see your crew get taken out one by one without any sign of who's doing it. Another reason why Batman's not using a gun might be coming from more of a political nature. In American movie culture, there are already a lot of gun-toting individuals and over-the-top glorification of guns, which have led to a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding, and more importantly, a lack of respect for how to own and take care of and use a firearm. The other reason why Batman doesn't like guns, of course, is because his parents were murdered by gun-toting criminals, and that turned him vehemently against any type of firearm. But after closely analyzing the career of the Caped Crusader, I've come to realize that not using firearms is a relatively stupid thing to do for such a brilliant and intelligent individual. Today we want to explain to you guys why we believe it's in his best interest to at least carry one firearm on his person at all times. First, let's take a look at the hypocrisy of his don't use gun policy. Exhibit A is the Tumbler Tank, a proprietary armored vehicle designed by Wayne Enterprises for the military as a bridge-laying vehicle. Apparently, this giant tank is supposed to use jet engine boosters to jump over rivers while carrying cables for a temporary bridge. Seems a bit overkill, but, whatever. What's more interesting is the list of features on the Tumbler. There are 6 rear flaps to assist braking, integrated fire extinguishing system, stealth mode, and also twin forward firing machine guns and a rocket launcher, which is a lot more deadly than the small little pistol that his parents' assassin used. In Batman Begins, Bruce Wayne takes the Tumbler on a joyride because his bae, Katie Holmes, got slipped a roofie and was feeling not so great. Now, if it were you or me, we'd probably just drive Katie Holmes back to Tom Cruise, or at least just put her in an Uber, and that would be that. Gotham's commissioner is even willing to drive Katie Holmes back in his perfectly fine street-legal car, which also had sirens on it, which probably would have helped them bypass traffic very easily. But no, Batman is all like, and hops into his tank and unnecessarily starts a police pursuit because he decides to just run over a squad car on his way out. He then continues to drive recklessly through the city of Gotham and destroys several storefronts, public property, which by the way is freaking out Katie Holmes, who is totally tripping balls at the time, and the last thing she needs to be inside of is a flying tank car. Again, the Uber would have been easier. So not only does Batman cause a few $1 million of damage here, he also probably ends up killing several police officers during this pursuit. And he definitely kills these criminals in the Dark Knight when he smashes their garbage truck into the roof of a tunnel. But at least he hasn't shot anyone with his guns yet, right? That is until his Bat tank gets hit by an RPG, which causes him to rely on his Bat motorcycle instead. While chasing the Joker, instead of lane splitting like a normal law-abiding motorcyclist, the psychopath decides to plow through an entire row of parked cars while using his machine gun. Again, this seems like highly unnecessary behavior and very criminal-like behavior. Batman then proceeds to use the front machine guns to open all sorts of doors, including firing through the front doors of a mall full of people, which is terrifying, especially if you know what it's like to live in Gotham City. Simply put, if you fire bullets indiscriminately in any direction, there's a high chance you'll destroy someone's property or face. It's just too crowded for that kind of nonsense. That's why whenever there is a shooting in Midtown Gotham, in the more crowded areas of the city, there's always going to be innocent bystanders getting hit. Oh, lastly, Batman's tumbler also has freaking landmines equipped to it, presumably landmines that are used to deter people following him. I think it's pretty easy to agree that landmines are even worse than guns, which is why there are several international treaties sanctioning the use of them anywhere. Although Batman sometimes is stealthy, he also sometimes has to come face to face with a criminal. Now, in a normal situation, if you do have a gun and you're relatively well trained to use it and look like you know what you're doing, you can basically ask someone to surrender from pretty far away and stop them in their tracks. Batman unfortunately lacks this type of ranged authority. To make matters worse, he's wearing a cape and a mask and looks terrifying, especially to individuals who aren't really familiar with who he is. I mean, just imagine running into Batman in the streets without really understanding what the hell he's supposed to be. My first instinct would be to run away from him because he looks like he's about to murder me with small bat-shaped knives. Which I, by the way, would have never done if that Batman was also holding a gun to my face. That's the universal sign of stop and don't move. But no, instead Batman has to use one of his totally lethal, non-lethal gadgets, whether it's his batarangs, which basically are throwing knives, or his spring-loaded bat ears, which are also throwing knives, or his kryptonite spear, which is like a giant throwing knife. He does have tasers, of course, but those aren't always effective and require Batman to get pretty close. The point is, a firearm can sometimes de-escalate a situation. It can also sometimes turn what should be a fist fight into a death match, but, depends on the individual. But since Batman chooses the life of being a vigilante, I think it's clear that a firearm would help aid him in arresting more criminals rather than just killing them with sharp objects. So there you have it, guys. That's our analysis on why Batman should have a firearm. I know you guys out there probably have a lot to add, so let me know in the comment section below what you think. Also, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button down below so you don't miss out on the rest of our awesome content. As usual, my name is Alan, reminding you that life is a movie, and you are the protagonist.